Ethan wiped the sweat from his forehead as he adjusted the solar panels on the roof of his small research lab. Life on the outer colony was quiet and predictable. Most days he spent examining soil samples, checking weather patterns, or repairing old machinery. It was simple work, and he liked it that way. The colony was small, with only a few hundred humans spread across a dusty plain beneath twin suns. Peaceful, if nothing else. But today felt different. Something in the sky didn't look right. One of the suns had dimmed slightly, a shadow flickering across the horizon. Ethan squinted, shielding his eyes. At first he thought it was a trick of the sunlight. But then the ground trembled beneath him, a low hum filling the air. Machines whirred and alarms blared in the lab. Something massive was coming. Ethan ran toward the source of the disturbance, heart pounding. A silver light appeared in the distance, growing larger with every second. It wasn't a storm. It wasn't a meteor. It was a spacecraft. And it was huge. Taller than any building in the colony, gleaming metal reflecting the suns like liquid mirrors, it descended slowly, with a soft, humming grace. Humans stopped in their tracks, mouths open, eyes wide. Children clutched their parents and workers dropped tools to stare at the impossible sight. Ethan's mind raced. Who or what was inside that ship? As the spacecraft touched down, the ground shook gently. A ramp extended from the hull, glowing with soft white light. And then stepping down, Ethan saw her, Queen Solara, regal and commanding, her presence impossible to ignore. Her skin shimmered faintly in a golden hue, and her eyes glowed like molten silver. She wore a flowing robe of deep purple that seemed alive, moving with her as though it had a mind of its own. Behind her, a smaller figure followed, stunningly beautiful, with features both alien and graceful. This was Lyra, her daughter. The crowd gasped. Ethan could not move. He felt small, ordinary and human, standing before beings that could only belong in stories. Queen Solara's voice echoed across the colony in a clear, melodic tone. Humans of this settlement, I require your attention. Ethan stepped forward, unsure why, but some instinct told him he was meant to be involved. I am Queen Solara of the Navara Dominion, she continued. I apologize for the sudden arrival, but matters of urgent importance call me away. My daughter Lyra must remain here. Whispers spread across the crowd. Remain here? With humans? Ethan's stomach twisted as the Queen's eyes locked onto him. He felt a sudden weight in his chest, as if the air itself had changed. You will take care of her, Queen Solara said, her voice now softer but no less firm. When I return, I want grandchildren. The words hit Ethan like a meteor. He blinked. Excuse me? Lyra stepped forward, her gaze curious, her silver eyes wide and observing. Don't worry, she said in a soft, musical voice. I'm not going to cause trouble, I just want to learn. Ethan swallowed hard. He had been prepared for many things in life. Technical failures, storms, equipment breakdowns, but raising an alien teenager? That was not on the list. And grandchildren? That was beyond comprehension. Queen Solara knelt slightly, placing a hand on Lyra's shoulder. Ethan, you are the one I trust. My daughter's growth, her safety, and her understanding of this world rest in your hands. I must leave immediately. Before Ethan could respond, a bright light enveloped the Queen. The crowd shielded their eyes. In a blink, she was gone, leaving behind only the humming of her spacecraft as it lifted into the sky. The colony was silent. Ethan and Lyra stood alone. Lyra tilted her head, studying Ethan. Well, she said quietly, looks like it's just us now. Ethan rubbed his face. This is insane. I don't even know where to start. Lyra smiled faintly. Start by showing me your world. I want to understand it. The first few days were chaotic. Ethan tried to explain simple human routines, from eating meals to sleeping schedules. Lyra was eager to learn, but she had abilities that defied human understanding. She could sense the colony's energy lines, almost like reading a map with her mind. Machines seemed to respond to her touch, moving slightly as though acknowledging her presence. Ethan kept reminding himself, don't panic, don't panic. He was responsible for this extraordinary alien being, and somehow he had to prepare for the fact that her mother expected grandchildren. Lyra was patient but curious, asking countless questions. Why do humans sleep so long? Why do you eat the same food every day? Why do you live in such small homes? Ethan chuckled despite the tension. We humans like routine. It keeps life manageable. And some things, Well, we do them because it feels normal. But normal can be boring, I admit. Lyra laughed, a sound like crystal bells. I like normal. I like understanding things step by step. Despite the fear and confusion, Ethan found himself drawn to her intelligence, her humor, and her openness. She wasn't arrogant like he feared a royal alien might be. She was learning, observing, and sometimes teasing him gently, asking tricky questions about human logic or society. One afternoon, while Ethan worked in the lab repairing a broken energy generator, Lyra wandered outside. She knelt beside a small patch of Earth-like grass that had managed to grow despite the harsh alien climate. She touched each blade delicately, whispering to them in her melodic voice. Ethan watched silently, unsure whether to interrupt. "It's fragile," she said softly, "but it survives." Ethan realized she wasn't just learning about humans, she was learning about life itself. And he understood in that moment that caring for her meant more than teaching. It meant showing respect, protection, and guidance. Night came quickly in the colony, and the twin suns disappeared below the horizon. Ethan showed Lyra how humans slept, explained dreams, and even told her small stories about human history. Lyra listened intently, eyes wide with fascination. "Do humans always fight so much?" she asked finally, after he told a story about wars long ago. Ethan shook his head. "Not always. But sometimes we forget what matters. That's why people like you, people like me, we have to keep learning, keep trying to do better." Lyra nodded solemnly, then smiled. "I think I will like this world. I will try to learn everything." The days passed and Ethan found a rhythm. Colony life became a little more complicated, yes, but more interesting too. He watched Lyra laugh, struggle with human food. She loved chocolate, hated spicy things, and learned the simplest things he had once taken for granted. At night, Ethan would stare at the stars, wondering when Queen Solara would return, and what she would think of his efforts. Could he really meet her expectations? Could humans truly measure up to the galaxy's elite? Lyra's hand would sometimes brush his shoulder, a reminder that she trusted him. That trust gave him courage. Maybe humans weren't as fragile as they seemed. Maybe humans could survive, adapt, and even thrive when faced with challenges beyond imagination. And so the quiet colony became the stage for an extraordinary partnership. Ethan, the ordinary human, and Lyra, the extraordinary alien, began their journey together. Lessons would be learned, dangers would appear, and the galaxy would see just how capable humans could be when given a chance. By the end of the first week, Ethan realized one undeniable truth. Life had changed forever. He was no longer just a human on a small colony. He was a guardian, a teacher, and perhaps in some way a bridge to the stars. As he watched Lyra practice walking in human shoes, which she found hilarious, he whispered to himself, "Well, kid, let's see if we can survive this together." And for the first time in a long time, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: excitement. Days turned into weeks, and life in the colony settled into a new rhythm. Ethan and Lyra had begun to understand each other better. What had once seemed impossible, raising an alien teenager, now became a strange but enjoyable routine. Lyra adapted quickly to human life. She was curious about everything: machines, books, games, even the simplest of human foods. Ethan often found her in the lab, examining gadgets or asking endless questions about electricity, engines, or data systems. Her mind worked differently, faster, and sometimes Ethan struggled to keep up. But he liked the challenge. "You humans really do everything the hard way," Lyra said one morning, peering at a generator Ethan was repairing. "Why not use a direct energy pulse instead of wires?" Ethan laughed, wiping his hands on a rag. "Because we like to understand what we're doing, and wires help us control power safely. If we just shot energy everywhere, well, a lot of things could explode." Lyra tilted her head. "Explosions are dangerous." "Very dangerous," Ethan replied, pretending to look serious. "Trust me, you don't want to be anywhere near one." She smiled, but her eyes sparkled with mischief. Ethan realized that despite her alien nature, Lyra had a childlike sense of humor and adventure. She wasn't just intelligent, she was playful, curious, and genuinely interested in humans. Outside the lab, Ethan taught her about human culture. He took her to the small marketplace in the colony, where humans traded food, clothes, and supplies. Lyra watched everything carefully, She asked questions about money, trade, and why humans valued certain things. Ethan tried to explain, sometimes stumbling over words, sometimes improvising. "It's about trust," he finally said. "People trust that the things they trade are fair. That's how we live together." Lyra nodded thoughtfully. "Trust, I like that. It makes sense. But humans still fight, right?" "Sometimes," Ethan admitted. "But not all the time. Most of us just want to live peacefully." Lyra seemed satisfied with the answer. She began helping Ethan with small tasks in the colony. Her alien abilities made things easier. She could sense when equipment was about to fail, and her understanding of energy patterns allowed her to fix machines in ways humans could not. She never did it arrogantly. She always asked, listened, and learned. One evening, as the twin suns set, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange, Ethan and Lyra sat on a hill overlooking the colony. "You know," Ethan said quietly, "I never thought I'd be taking care of anyone like this, let alone an alien princess." Lyra laughed softly. "I never thought I'd live with humans, but I like it. You are kind, even when you are confused. And you teach me a lot," Ethan smiled. "Thanks. I try. It's not easy, you know, raising someone like you." "Raising?" Lyra's voice was teasing. "I think we are learning from each other. Maybe you are learning as much as I am." Ethan chuckled. "Maybe. But humans aren't used to being the teacher in every situation." Lyra's eyes glimmered. "Then I will make sure to learn everything. You will see. I will understand humans completely." Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. Ethan realized that Lyra was not just a responsibility. She was a bridge to something greater. Through her, he began to see the galaxy differently. Humans were not weak. They were adaptable, clever, and capable of remarkable things. He could see it now, reflected in Lyra's admiration for human ingenuity. The colony began to notice the change too. Ethan's neighbors, who had been skeptical at first, were surprised by how quickly Lyra adapted. She joined them in daily chores, helped with repairs, and even played games with the children. At first, some adults were wary, unsure if they could trust this alien visitor. But over time, her kindness, curiosity, and willingness to learn won them over. One day, disaster struck. A severe dust storm rolled across the plains, stronger than any Ethan had seen before. The colony's power systems faltered, and communication lines went down. Panic spread quickly. "Ethan," Lyra shouted, gripping his arm. "We have to do something." Ethan took a deep breath. "Okay. We need to secure the generators and protect the buildings. Can you help me?" Lyra nodded. Together they worked through the storm, braving wind and dust to repair broken power lines and reinforce weakened structures. Lyra's alien senses allowed her to predict gusts of wind and locate hidden damages. Ethan relied on his human ingenuity, using makeshift tools and quick thinking to solve problems on the spot. By the end of the storm, the colony was safe. Humans cheered, grateful for the teamwork between Ethan and Lyra. Ethan looked at her, proud and amazed. "You did incredible today," he said. Lyra shrugged, smiling. "I learned from the best teacher." That night, as the colony recovered, Ethan and Lyra sat by a small fire. The stars twinkled above, distant and mysterious. "You know," Lyra said softly, "I think I understand humans more than I expected. You are brave, resourceful, and kind." "I like being here," Ethan smiled. "I like having you here too. But remember, we still have a lot to learn. The galaxy is bigger than we imagine." Lyra nodded, her eyes reflecting the firelight. "Then we will learn together. I will try my best to be worthy of my mother's expectations." Ethan laughed. "You don't have to worry about that yet. Let's just focus on today." But even as he said it, he knew the Queen's words weighed heavily on both of them. "When I return, I want grandchildren." It was impossible to ignore. The expectation hung in the air, a reminder that Lyra's life, and perhaps the future of the colony, was tied to something far greater than either of them could understand. Still, Ethan felt hope. He had seen what humans could do when faced with challenges beyond imagination. They were not weak. They were adaptable, clever, and capable of rising to any occasion. And if humans could survive here on the edge of the galaxy, maybe they could thrive anywhere. Over the following weeks, Ethan introduced Lyra to other humans in the colony. She watched children play, learning patience and empathy. She helped elderly workers repair homes and machinery, learning teamwork and community spirit. She even participated in small festivals, tasting human food and laughing at simple games. One afternoon, Ethan found her sitting by a small pond, gazing at her reflection. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "I am thinking about my mother," Lyra said quietly. "She left me here, and I must honor her wish. But I also like this place. I like humans. It is different, but good," Ethan nodded. "You don't have to figure everything out at once. Life is about learning, step by step." Lyra smiled faintly. "I will try, but I want to understand everything. About humans, about this planet, about life." Ethan realized that Lyra's curiosity was not just intelligence, it was a desire to connect, to belong, and perhaps that was the most important lesson of all. Understanding, trust, and friendship could bridge even the greatest differences. As the twin suns set once more, Ethan felt a quiet pride. He had begun to teach Lyra, yes, but she had taught him as well. About courage, about adaptability, and about seeing value in unexpected places. The bond between them was growing stronger, built on trust, learning, and shared experiences. And somewhere deep inside, Ethan knew that when Queen Solara returned, she would not be disappointed. Lyra was learning, growing, and thriving. And humans, he realized, were more than capable of meeting the galaxy's expectations, if only given a chance. For now, life continued in the quiet colony. Ethan and Lyra faced challenges, learned from each other, and laughed together. The days were long, the work was hard, but for the first time in years, Ethan felt alive. Because with Lyra by his side, the ordinary became extraordinary, and the galaxy was waiting. The calm days of the colony did not last. One morning, Ethan noticed unusual readings on the sensors. Energy fluctuations, strange signals, and movement outside the usual zones. At first, he thought it was a malfunction, but the pattern was too organized. Someone or something was approaching. Lyra, standing beside him, tilted her head. "I sense it too," she said. "They are different. They are not human." Ethan's heart quickened. Different how? Stronger, faster, intelligent. "They are observing us," Ethan swallowed hard. "Okay, we need to prepare. Stay close to me." Within hours, the truth became undeniable. A rival alien faction had discovered Lyra's presence. They wanted her, seeing her as a valuable asset for political leverage in the galaxy. Massive ships appeared in the sky, sleek and dark, with weapons that glowed ominously. Panic rippled through the colony. Humans ran for shelter, children screamed, and alarms blared. But Ethan kept his focus. He had survived dust storms, equipment failures, and isolation. He would not let this threat succeed. "Lyra," he said firmly, "we have to get ready. I need your help." Lyra nodded, eyes bright with determination. "I am ready. What should I do?" Ethan looked at the colony's resources, old machinery, makeshift defenses, and simple traps they could set. It wasn't much, but humans had a gift for creativity and improvisation. "First," he said, "we use what we have. They may be stronger, but humans are clever. Watch me, learn, and act when I tell you." Lyra observed closely as Ethan guided the colony's residents. They dug trenches, reinforced buildings, and set simple energy sensors to detect movement. Ethan's strategy was human ingenuity in action, clever, unpredictable, and resourceful. As the alien ships descended, the tension was palpable. Ethan and Lyra crouched behind a ridge, observing the enemy. The aliens were imposing, with sharp metallic armor and glowing eyes. But Ethan noticed something important. They moved in predictable patterns. Humans are nothing compared to them. One of the aliens sneered in their harsh, guttural language. "They will fall easily," Ethan smirked. "We'll see about that." The first attack came swiftly. Energy blasts struck the colony's perimeter, causing sparks and fires. Humans scrambled, but Ethan stayed calm, directing residents to safety and leading Lyra to cover. "Now," he whispered, "we use their arrogance against them." Ethan had noticed a weak point in the enemy's approach. By manipulating the terrain and creating distractions, he guided the aliens into traps made of energy fields and debris. Lyra's abilities amplified their effectiveness. She could sense the exact timing of the enemy's movements, predicting when to trigger traps. The aliens were confused. How are they doing this?" one growled. Lyra's voice rang out from behind a makeshift shield. "Humans are clever. You underestimated them." Ethan nodded, pride swelling in his chest. Humans were indeed underestimated. Their ability to adapt, think quickly, and improvise gave them an edge the aliens did not anticipate. The battle continued for hours. Ethan coordinated defenses while Lyra provided guidance, warning of dangers and suggesting ways to outsmart the enemy. Humans fought bravely, but it was their ingenuity that turned the tide. At one point, an alien warrior broke through a barrier, moving straight toward Lyra. Ethan's heart raced. Without hesitation, he grabbed a control lever and activated a trap. A massive mechanical net fell from above, capturing the intruder. Lyra looked at him with wide eyes. "You saved me," she said softly. Ethan shrugged, trying to appear calm. "We're a team. That's how we survive," Lyra smiled faintly. "I am learning. Humans are stronger than I thought. Not just physically, mentally too." As night fell, the enemy retreated. Their ships lifted, leaving trails of light across the dark sky. The colony was battered but intact. Humans cheered, exhausted but victorious. Ethan looked at Lyra, who was watching the retreating ships with a mix of relief and curiosity. "You did incredible today," he said. "I couldn't have done it without you." Lyra shook her head. "No, you did incredible. I only helped. Humans. Humans are amazing. I understand now why my mother trusted you." Ethan felt a warmth he had never experienced before. This was more than survival. It was a lesson in courage, adaptability, and trust. Humans were underestimated, yes, but when challenged, they could rise to any occasion. The next morning, the colony began repairs. Ethan and Lyra worked side by side, fixing broken machinery, reinforcing homes, and helping the residents recover. Lyra's abilities made tasks faster, but she relied on Ethan's guidance, learning patience and teamwork. During a quiet moment, Ethan and Lyra sat outside, watching the twin suns rise. "You were amazing yesterday," Ethan said. "I'm proud of you. You stayed calm, followed instructions, and helped save everyone." Lyra smiled, her eyes shining. "I learned from you. You taught me not just to act, but to think. Humans can be very clever," Ethan chuckled. "We try our best, but it's teamwork that matters. And today, we made a great team." Lyra's expression softened. "I think I like being here. I like learning. And I think I like humans too." Ethan nodded. "I like having you here too. But remember, we still have challenges ahead. This was just the beginning." Lyra tilted her head. "I am ready. Whatever comes, I will face it with you." In the days that followed, Ethan noticed how much Lyra had grown. She was stronger, more confident, and more aware of human ways. She laughed with the children, helped adults with their work, and even participated in training exercises. Humans and Lyra learned from each other. One afternoon, while repairing a broken energy generator, Ethan noticed her watching him carefully. "What is it?" he asked. Lyra smiled faintly. "I am thinking about what you said, about humans being underestimated. You are right. I see it now. Humans are clever, brave, adaptable. I am proud to know humans." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. "Thanks, Lyra, that means a lot. And I'm proud to know you too. You're extraordinary." She laughed softly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Extraordinary? I like that word. But I think humans are extraordinary too." That night, Ethan lay in his small cabin, staring at the stars. The battle had shown him something important. Humans could survive even when facing threats far beyond their understanding. Lyra's presence had reminded him of the power of guidance, trust, and mutual respect. Together, humans and aliens could achieve remarkable things. Lyra knocked on his door gently. "Can I come in?" she asked. "Of course," Ethan replied. She sat quietly beside him, looking at the stars. "Do you think my mother will be pleased when she returns?" Ethan hesitated. "I think she will see what I see now. That humans are capable. That we can protect, guide, and teach. And that you are growing into someone amazing." Lyra smiled, resting her head on her hand. "I will try my best, for her, and for humans too." Ethan realized that their journey was far from over. External threats would come again. Challenges would arise, and the Queen's expectations loomed large. But for now, humans had shown their strength, not just in survival, but in courage, intelligence, and the ability to rise above fear. And Lyra? She was no longer just an alien visitor. She was a student, a friend, and a bridge between worlds. As they watched the stars together, Ethan felt a quiet certainty. Humans were not weak. They were adaptable, resilient, and capable of incredible feats. And with Lyra by his side, they were ready for whatever the galaxy had in store. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new lessons, and perhaps even new allies. But tonight, under the twin sun's fading light, Ethan and Lyra allowed themselves a moment of peace, knowing that together, they could face anything, and somewhere in the distance, beyond the stars, Queen Solara was watching, unaware of just how much her daughter and humanity had already grown. The adventure was far from over. The colony had settled into a sense of calm after the recent threat. Humans worked tirelessly to repair damages and improve defenses, while Ethan and Lyra continued their daily routines. The bond between them had grown strong, built on trust, respect, and shared experiences. Every day, Ethan saw Lyra learning, not just about humans, but about herself and her place in the galaxy. Then one morning, the sky lit up with a familiar glow. Ethan froze, recognizing the unmistakable shimmer of Queen Solara's spacecraft. The Queen had returned. The ground trembled gently as the massive ship descended, landing smoothly near the colony. Lyra's eyes widened, a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Mother," she whispered softly. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Don't worry. We're ready." The ramp extended and Queen Solara stepped out, her presence as commanding and regal as ever. But this time her gaze swept across the colony with curiosity rather than authority. She observed the repaired buildings, the organized defenses, and the humans working together efficiently. Her silver eyes finally settled on Ethan and Lyra. "Ethan," she said, her voice calm but powerful, "you have done well. But tell me, what have you taught my daughter in my absence?" Ethan straightened, meeting her gaze without fear. "I've taught her about humans, their ways, and how to live among them. But more than that, I've learned from her too. Humans can adapt, think creatively, and face challenges even greater than they understand. Together we've survived threats, rebuilt this colony, and protected everyone here." Queen Solara's expression softened slightly, though her eyes still gleamed with authority. She looked at Lyra, who now stood taller, more confident than when her mother had left. Lyra spoke first, her voice steady and clear. "Mother, I have learned much. Humans are clever, brave, and kind. They are not weak, as you may think. And Ethan, he has taught me everything about your world, and he has trusted me to grow, to learn, and to understand." The Queen studied her daughter closely, a hint of pride showing in her posture. "I see," she said slowly. "You have adapted well. You have survived, learned, and grown. And you trust him?" Lyra nodded firmly. "I do. He has guided me, protected me, and taught me. He has earned my respect and trust." Ethan felt a mix of relief and pride. He had worried about this moment for weeks. The Queen's expectations were high, and her words about grandchildren loomed over them like a shadow. But seeing her daughter's confidence and the colony's success, he felt ready to meet her gaze. Queen Solara's eyes swept the colony once more, noting the repaired structures, the organized defenses, and the humans working side by side with Lyra. "Impressive," she murmured. "You humans are stronger than I anticipated. You have adapted, survived, and protected my daughter. You have earned my respect." Ethan bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. It was a team effort. Lyra and I and the people of this colony." The Queen's lips curved into a faint smile. "Indeed, and what have you learned, Lyra?" she asked. "I have learned that humans are capable of greatness," Lyra replied. "They may not have powers like ours, but they are clever, resilient, and brave. I have also learned that guidance, trust, and partnership can create strength beyond measure." Queen Solara looked at Ethan again, her eyes narrowing slightly. "And you? Have you prepared for my expectations?" Ethan swallowed, choosing his words carefully. "I have done my best to guide and protect Lyra. The rest is for the future. We focus on today, on learning, on surviving, and on growing together. Whatever comes next, we will face it with respect and courage." The Queen nodded slowly, clearly satisfied with his answer. "Very well. I am pleased with the progress. You have honored my trust. Lyra has grown beyond what I expected." Lyra stepped forward, her posture proud but respectful. "Mother, I am ready to continue learning, to grow, and to prepare for the galaxy's future. But I also understand humans better now, and I respect their courage and abilities." Queen Solara's eyes softened further. "You have exceeded my expectations, my daughter. And you, Ethan, have proven that humans are capable allies, perhaps more than that. Ethan felt a quiet pride knowing that human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability had been recognized by one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. The Queen turned her gaze toward the colony. Humans and Nivara may seem different, but today I see the value in partnership. When civilizations trust each other, when guidance and respect exist, we can accomplish far more than alone. Lyra smiled, her silver eyes glimmering. That is what I have learned too, Mother. Queen Solara looked at Ethan one last time. Perhaps, when the time comes, my expectations will be met. But for now I am satisfied. You have proven that humans are not weak. You have proven that courage, intelligence, and cooperation matter. Ethan exhaled, feeling a weight lift from his shoulders. He had worried about the Queen's expectations, about whether humans could measure up. Now it seemed that fear was replaced by a quiet pride. The Queen's gaze softened toward her daughter. Lyra, you have grown into a capable, wise, and respectful individual. You have learned from humans, but you have also taught them. You are a bridge between worlds, and that is more important than any other expectation I might have. Lyra's eyes glimmered with emotion. Thank you, Mother. I will continue to learn and grow. Queen Solara turned to Ethan. And you have proven that humans can rise to challenges no matter how impossible. I will remember this day. The galaxy will remember this day. Perhaps one day humans and Nivara will work together again as equals and partners. Ethan nodded. I hope so, Your Majesty. I believe we can achieve much together. The Queen smiled faintly, then stepped toward her ship. For now, I leave you in peace. But remember, the galaxy is vast and lessons are never over. Continue to grow, continue to learn, and continue to show the strength of humanity. As the Queen boarded her ship and ascended, Lyra turned to Ethan. You did it, she said softly. We did it, Ethan smiled, feeling a mixture of relief and pride. Yes, we did, and we'll continue to do it every day. Humans are stronger than most think, and together, we can face anything. Lyra looked out across the colony, seeing humans working, laughing, and thriving. I understand now, she said. Your mother was right to trust us, and I am proud to be here, learning from humans and growing with them. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. And I'm proud to have you here too, Lyra. You've changed this colony, and you've changed me. The twin suns began to set, casting long shadows across the plains. The colony glowed softly under their fading light, peaceful yet alive with energy. Humans had survived, grown, and proved their worth. Lyra had learned, grown, and shown the galaxy the power of cooperation, trust, and courage. Ethan looked at the stars, thinking about the future. He knew more challenges would come, that the galaxy was vast and full of surprises. But he also knew something important. Humans could rise to any challenge. They could adapt, learn, and thrive. And with allies like Lyra, and perhaps others from her world, there was no limit to what they could achieve. Lyra turned to him, her silver eyes reflecting the starlight. What will we do now? She asked. Ethan smiled. Now? We keep learning, exploring, and protecting. We make the most of today. And when tomorrow comes, we face it together. Lyra nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. Together. The colony, once quiet and ordinary, had become a place of hope, strength, and possibility. And in the center of it all were two beings from different worlds, learning from each other, growing together, and showing the galaxy that humanity, though ordinary in appearance, was extraordinary in spirit. And somewhere beyond the stars, Queen Solara watched, confident that her daughter, and the humans who had guided her, were ready for whatever the future might bring. Because humans were not just survivors. Humans were thinkers, creators, protectors. Humans were capable of greatness, and together they would shape a future the galaxy could never forget.